they told me I might never be able to read. They didn't say it cruelly, just casually, like discussing the weather. But careless words have a way of staying. Everyone around me was reading. The words spoke to them, they stayed silent for me. I remember adults whispering a word I didn't understand yet. Dyslexic. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew it wasn't a compliment. I wasn't dyslexic. I had been misdiagnosed, labeled before anyone truly understood how I learned, and that label followed me like a shadow until I took back my own story. I wanted to get it right. I really did. But instead of seeing me, Hanaiah, Yaz, Vasandani, I could feel teachers watching the clock. Looking back now, I learned something essential. The label came before the understanding. They saw a label, yet I saw a ladder, something to climb, not something to wear. And the wrongs weren't made out of talent or praise, but people. It takes a village, as they say, and in mine was my grandpa. In 1980, he bought himself a Merriam-Webster word guide. Hardcover, serious, the kind of book that expected effort from you. 40 years later, in 2019, he handed it to me. The pages were yellow. The spine was cracked, but the belief attached to it was untouched. He didn't give it to me to tell me I was smart. He gave it to me to tell me I was capable, to tell me all I needed to do was try. That book was my permission to learn differently, to move slowly, and to be wrong before being right. I remember turning the pages of this book. These words stood out. They spoke to me. Page 149, intelligence. Page 164, linear. And that's when it clicked. Intelligence isn't linear. What feels like a straight line for you is a zigzag path for another, a spiral, a detour. Intelligence has dimension, yet we insist on measuring it like a ruler. Maybe you were told you weren't fast enough, or creative enough, or smart in the right way. But here's the thing. Somewhere, someone decided what enough looks like, and the rest of us just agreed to be judged by it. For me, learning to read didn't arrive as a moment of triumph. It arrived through repetition. My mom sat with me every day for an hour, usually longer. I formed letters in clay. I wrote letters in the sand. I learned through sounds repeated again and again until noise slowly started to become meaning. We didn't talk about potential. Instead, all I heard were sounds. Again, she said. Wrong. Let's try again, she said. Some days I cried before the page even opened. Not because the work was hard, but because it was slow. Progress didn't look like improvement. And then one day, nothing miraculous happened. No moving moment, no applause. I read a sentence out loud, incorrectly, then again, less incorrectly. And that was it. Not a leap, a crack. But cracks let light in. And somewhere along the way, the measuring slowly stopped. Not because the system changed, but because I stopped letting it define me first. I was still the kid who read slowly, still the kid who needed repetition, still the kid who took the longer way around. But I was also the kid who kept going. And that's what the reports never showed. Struggle is not the opposite of intelligence. It is often the proof of it. I learned the same way everyone else does, through time, mistakes, and patience. I just needed more of it. As people, we often label what we don't understand, and somewhere along the way, the label can shape and sometimes narrow what we think is possible. But the truest reality is this: we don't need to learn faster. We just need to learn, relearn, and unlearn at our own pace without being defined before we're understood. With every word I learned to read and spell, I was slowly lifting myself out of the box they put me in. And when you're faced with an obstacle like that, the hardest word in the dictionary is self-belief. 40 years later, the pages of that dictionary are still yellow. The spine is still cracked. And now the belief is stronger than ever. My grandfather gifted me a whole book. But today, I'm giving you a blank page. Not so you can write what the world expects, but only so you can write what you become. Every path looks strange until you step out and you see the climb. Because ladders define movement. And intelligence is not linear. Thank you.